Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Brunch with REC. My name is Tyler, and I am not the usual face that you see on the Brunch with REC, which is Jazz and Simeon. I am in our real estate coaching division, and I know I've had the privilege of speaking with many of the REC insiders who are going to be joining us today. But for anyone who doesn't know who I am part of our real estate coaching division. I sit down with our REC insiders and investors every day, and I help them build roadmaps to what they're trying to accomplish in their real estate portfolio. I was sitting down with Jazz and Simeon a few months ago, and we thought that this would be a nice addition to the Brunch with REC, which is hearing real stories from real investors. Being a fly on the wall with the conversations that myself and our real estate coaching division is having. And, really going over the portfolio, the challenges that investors are facing, as well as different markets and types of opportunities that individual investors are taking a look at. As we all know, it is real estate investing is truly not a one size fits all. So I think hearing different perspectives from our investors and REC insiders might give everyone else some value, some ideas, get their gears turning, and potentially even learning about opportunities that you weren't even considering. And today we are going to have Joe and Ray on, who are past REC insiders of ours. I was actually backstage with them, and just hearing about what they have on the go right now is great to hear. And I'm really excited for all of the REC insiders to learn with me about what Joe and Ray are currently going through in their real estate portfolio, the types of opportunities that they're looking into, as well as obviously challenges, if it's financing challenges, if it's tenants or construction challenges. And also, Slava, good morning. Tina, hello. Where's everyone tuning into? I'm in our office right now with the shops at Don Mills. It is currently we're going through renovation, so it's a little bit of a mashup of things. As you can see, we are making it work. We don't have a studio as of right now. We have Jazz and Laura usually outside in the hallways. Jazz has a makeshift little desk where he does a lot of his calls and his podcasts. And we have our media team in a boardroom right now. And I know we're really looking forward to the renovations to be done. And this is just an exciting chapter. Where's everyone tuning in from? Hello, Cass. I also have Nora and Cass here today in the office cheering me on, so I'm really happy about that. So let's bring on Joe and Ray, and let's start going over and hearing about their real story from real investors. Hi, Ray. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Tyler.
How are you doing? I'm good. Yourself?
Good. We're great. We're so happy to be here.
Yep. Great to be here, Tyler. Great to see you.
I am very happy to have you on in my first segment, and I'm privileged to be here and speaking with you. So thank you so much for joining us. The first question that I'm going to ask before we get into your current and past portfolio, in the backstage you told me about your new dog. So let's talk about that first. So what is the dog's name, and how old is it?
He's a yellow lab, and he's about 3 months old now, and his name's Bear. So he was on the Christmas list to Santa, and something we've been talking about for a long time. But yeah, Ray's first dog, so it's been a learning curve in terms of, I think, the amount of work puppies are.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's been fun. It's been interesting. The kids were really wanting a puppy, and it was like, Mom and Dad, we'll do all the stuff. We'll do all the stuff. And Mom and Dad are doing all the stuff, right? So it is what it is. But no, it's added joy to the family, and that's a great thing.
I have 3 dogs myself, so I am a huge fan of having animals around. I just think they're such a booster in your energy, and also it does force you to do some things like going outside for walks and for the kids, just teaching them responsibility. my daughter is now 19 months old and we have 3 dogs. So she has no responsibility with them right now. She just loves, feeding them and dumping their food on the ground. I think it's her favorite thing right now. But I don't know how I would, have anything in my household without the dogs just running around and just playing with them all the time. So that's great. I don't miss the puppy stage though. That's for sure.
Yeah. Looking forward to that being, moving past that.
Yeah,
but,
a year out, but labs are great. So it's the puppy stage is at least very enjoyable with labs most of the time. Yeah. So this conversation, and we like to call this the real estate action plan, and this is what we myself in our real estate coaching division does every single day with our real estate insiders or REC insiders. And this conversation is going to be broken down into a few segments. First, Ray and Joe, we want to learn more about your previous and current real estate portfolio. The second part of the conversation will be some of the challenges that you faced, as I said in the introduction. As well, at the end of it, we want to know more about what types of opportunities or investments that you're looking into, what markets that you're targeting yourself this year or moving forward, as well as what's next on the larger scale. And I did hear in the backstage some of the developments and opportunities that you have in your portfolio. So I'm really looking forward to, diving deep into that. So let's go into first your first income property or real estate investment. What type of opportunity was it and where was it?
For us, we really got serious in 2018. We had sold a condo and then we bought our first family home. And then we sat on this lump of money and it was like, how do we get this thing to grow? And we came back to real estate. And we took some time. We started to get educated. We joined a few different communities that definitely boosted our overall education level. And throughout that process, we started to really take a look at different markets throughout Ontario. For us at that particular time, cash flow was a big thing that we needed for the household. We had
2 kids under
2 kids, childcare, diapers,
in Toronto,
all of it, right? Yeah. In Toronto, it's already a high cost.
I feel that right now. I got one that's 19 months and one on the way. That's due.
Childcare was more than our mortgage.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Especially when you add in daycare, and it's
wow.
Sometimes, like my wife and I were calculating it, and sometimes it doesn't even weigh one of us going to work.
No,
like with how expensive it is. So yeah, I can totally understand. But so cash flow being an important part of your first real estate opportunity that you invested into.
Yeah. So for us, we were really looking at that turnkey, that ready product, right? We didn't feel confident to take on a renovation project. We didn't really want to even go through the tenanting aspect. We wanted to buy something that had tenants in place, that was cash flowing, that we could simply, close on the deal and, the next month start to be able to deposit checks and see the cash flow coming in. And we ended up doing that. We looked on a lot of different markets throughout Ontario. We looked in, southwestern Ontario. We went down to Niagara region. We traveled down to Windsor. We went east along the 401, and then we went north up into the Simcoe County, and we landed in a duplex in Barrie, Ontario. That
Amazing.
Our first property and our first cash flowing asset.
In Barrie. And this was turnkey. So the tenants you already assumed then.
Yeah,
we sure did. Yeah,
amazing.
We assumed the tenants. We introduced ourselves. We gave them the information for contact, and yeah, the property was I don't want to say a breeze, but it was a really great starting property for us. There was very little challenges with it. The tenants were great. It allowed us to kind of wade in and get our feet wet and build a level of confidence that we felt like, hey, this is going well. And I remember saying to Joe, I would go up every 3 months just to be able to change the furnace filters. That was my inspect the property.
Yeah, exactly. You're in. Yeah.
Yeah, right. My in. And I said to Joe on the drive back, and I said, the only thing I don't like about this is we only have one up here. And I said, if we're going to continue to grow, like we need more property, so it makes my trips more valuable. I can maximize my time and be more efficient with the days. And we were living in Toronto at the time, so it was just an hour, zip up to Barrie. So it was totally reasonable to be able to do that. So that's how we started off. Yeah,
it's and I kind of like your approach there, especially with the fact that you're just kind of dipping your toes in the water, finding something that you don't have to put a lot of renovation costs as well as vacancy with it being turnkey. We'll go into your other portfolios, your other investments, but how do you feel about assuming tenants now that you've had a few under your belt?
We do it all the time.
Yeah.
We do it all the time. And now it's just a natural part of the overall acquisition process. We assume tenants, we work with tenants, we turn tenants over, all that sort of stuff. So it's now just become second nature to us, to be honest with you.
And then when you assume the tenant, at what point do you start, having that line of communication with them? Is it before closing, or is it after you close, then you have a meeting with them?
Yeah, go ahead, honey.
I'd say it's usually after we close. So usually we'll have a meeting where we'll go, especially in the multi-units, where we'll go and we'll, use one of the vacant rooms or the laundry room or something. And we actually just get tenants to come through the course of the day, allow us to meet them. We have forms for them to fill out in terms of like any challenges that they currently have in their units. We really kind of try to understand a little bit about where they're at. It helps us get a gauge of, are they ready to move on? Like, were they going to be leaving anyway? Is this something that, we can help them with, or are they, great tenants that want to stay and take care of their place? And it really helps us sort of get a lay of the land, but we usually do that after
closing.
Yeah. We're so by the book, right? We like to follow all the rules and make sure we're doing things
for sure.
forward. So
yeah,
we have had, tenants say, hey, can we talk to you? And generally we say to them, we're not the owners yet. Let us close on the property, and then we're happy to be able to have any conversations. And it just keeps it nice and clean that way.
That's great. And when you do speak to the tenant, and let's just say they do want to, keep renting the new home that you did purchase, do you get them to sign a new lease?
We generally do, right? We want to get people on new paper when we take over a property. So we want to be able to get them on new paper, have them, sign a new lease. Some tenants are willing to do that. Some are a little bit reluctant to do that. It might be, even information that is lacking, right? Maybe the previous leases were not always complete and full in terms of all the information that we need. So going over those details with the tenant, saying, hey, listen, we've got your name and we know your unit number. That's all we've got, right?
Yeah.
Like, we need to
How do you pay? How do you pay? What's included in your lease?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes people have been living there for so long that, they don't have a copy of their lease anymore. They'd actually have no idea what's covered in their lease.
So true. So true, right?
It's definitely ones that were grandfathered in, and that's been especially and now with the new Ontario standard lease that needs to be signed, it's always good just to do that, retouch anyways, and just to make sure that you're all on the same page. And I actually love that approach, just sitting down with them and making it more personal, because at the end of the day, they're your clients. They're paying off your mortgage. They're allowing you to build real estate wealth while they're paying their rent. And it's always good to treat them like a partnership. And I feel like anyways, with the insiders and investors that I speak with and that we communicate with, the ones that get ahead of things and have that personal level with their tenants. And I don't mean that by, always checking up on them and really breathing over their shoulder, but more on the point that, hey, we're here together. This is your house as well as much as it is mine. And I'm here to work with you. Anything that you need, let me know. And I find that our insiders that have done that and have taken that approach, they're the ones that, if anything were, to happen, or any turbulence that happens in their, portfolio, at least you can get ahead of it a little bit better. The communication's open.
100%. It builds trust. It establishes a line of communication, and maybe you're not building rapport. Like, it doesn't mean we have to be best friends by any particular means, but we want you to know, who to call. And we're very proactive with our tenants as well, which is if you hear a creak or a moan or a groan or something, let us know so we can get in and find out what the problem is, versus now it's broken and now we're being reactive, which is, hey, what, water's not working, or the electricity or the furnace or something in the middle of the night has gone funk. Well, now we're scrambling. So if you hear something, maybe a rattle or a whatever, right, let us know so that we can get on top of it. And, we look at it too like this, right? Yes, we purchase real estate and it's a great asset, but at the end of the day, as you said, the tenants are the ones that are paying, and they're our number one asset, right? They are the client. They're the people that you're really being able to put the product out there for. So we take that mindset into every particular property, which is the tenants are the number one asset. They help us determine the value of these properties, and they're the ones that are paying down the mortgages and the taxes and everything else that goes along with it. So it's a big responsibility.
And we've had a lot of conversations in that first meeting of people who have, automatically opened up and thankfully seen us as people who can help solve a problem. Like there's people who are, in some of the buildings that we've purchased, they've been really crappy, right?
Yeah.
They're pretty horrible. And
if you whisper it, they can still hear us.
yes, sir. And there's people that have felt stuck.
Yes.
We had one woman who said, she's been wanting to move closer to her kids and get out of the building. But she can't afford a moving truck. She can't afford to get down there. And so we worked with her over a couple of months to like help get her stuff sorted, and met her daughter came up, and they moved her out, and they were so happy, and they just needed a little bit of help. And
yeah,
it's been great. It's been really good in that sense,
which is nice. And you're creating a safe space for them too, hopefully, right? And
yeah.
I think that is as a real estate investor, it's something that you should want to do.
Totally.
At the end of the day, you're going to be potentially raising rents every year, and you need to bring that value to it as well. And I totally I love that approach there. So your first property was a turnkey duplex in Barrie.
Mm-hmm.
What did you both do afterwards? What was investment number 2, and now let's move into your current portfolio.
Okay, well,
we stalled.
The story gets interesting after the first one. We did a private lending deal after that. We still had some capital remaining, and we wanted to deploy it and keep that working for us. So we did that, and that worked out great. Our first time doing a private lending deal.
Very hands-off, passive.
That was scary though.
Passive,
that was scary.
But it worked out great. It worked out really, really well, and we were totally pleased with it, and that was great. But then we were out of capital, and we're like, well, what do we do now? We want to acquire more properties, but there's no more money. So how does this all work? And at that point in time, we realized we need a little more training, a little more education. So we found a great couple, and they really focus on all about joint ventures and the training around being able to, set yourself up and execute a joint venture. So we enrolled and we took that particular course. It's Corey and Tiffany Young are their names.
Oh, nice. Yes. In Alberta.
Yeah. So the Fearless Investor community, and it really helped to open a lot of doors for us. It removed some mindsets, blocks that we had in there. At the same time, I had met this killer amazing couple, Jamie and Leslie Collard, and they were just killing it in the multifamily space. And I was taking a look at this duplex going, okay, well, here's what happens, and I'm understanding some of the economics and the mechanics and the numbers behind it. And then having these conversations with Jamie and Leslie about what they're doing in the multifamily space, and my mind was blown as to what the difference in terms of residential and multifamily and what you can do there. So I kind of begged Jamie and Leslie. I said, like, I would love to come out and like spend half an hour. I'll bring coffees. I'll sweep the floors. I don't care, guys. Like, whatever it is. If I could come and watch you for like half an hour in a building, that's all I want to do. And that ask led to a meeting. And at the end of that meeting with them, they said, you know what, Ray, we'd love to work with you. Why don't we go out and find a building together? And that was our next property after our duplex.
Amazing. And where was that, Joe? Where was that?
That
property?
was a 16 unit up in Aurelia.
Oh, so we're getting bigger there. Oh, at least you're staying in the same area, though.
Exactly,
you're
right?
traveling out there, and you're making your time more valuable, which is nice. 16 unit, and you joint ventured that. If you don't mind me asking, because joint venture structureship, partnership, and structuring joint ventures is conversations that I have a lot with REC insiders. In regards to this particular joint venture, is this something that you both went like 50-50? Is it something that's like 70-30?
No, we did 50-50 along the way.
50-50. And it's always cleaner, I feel like, that way when everyone has equal parts.
Yeah. And we did this, it was our first one. So Jamie and Leslie were like, they had their hands full, and they said, listen, we will show you guys the way, but you have to do all the work. But and we thought, great, no problem, done. So we did that, and since then we've done more with them, and it's been great. But that was our next one, 16 unit in Aurelia.
And were these all fully tenanted? Was it like 50-50 tenanted? What was the situation there?
The situation was, this was the building that no one would touch and take, right? This is the nightmare building that no one wants to take on. Yes, it was tenanted with pretty well
the worst of the worst.
If you can imagine every challenge you could have, it was located within that building, within those tenants, right? So illegal activity,
drug dealing,
prostitution,
all of it.
You know, just you know, theft. I don't even know what else was going on in there, right? But yeah, you name the problem, it was there.
It's one of the challenges, right, of assuming tenants is, you know, you assume messes sometimes too, right?
Yeah.
And so how did you kind of work around that? How did you both, you know, try to, you know, make it right?
Well, we did what we talked about. We started off with, you know, those conversations and started trying to understand, kind of get actually into understanding kind of the why behind why these people are living here, because not everyone was like that, right? There were people, and this is where one of those situations where this, you know, elderly woman wanted to be near her daughter, but she couldn't find a way out. So there were quite a few people like that we were able to help. There were people who were, you know, part of the Simcoe County housing program, you know, and so we were able to work with Simcoe Housing to get them a better space, because even the Simcoe Housing people didn't understand the conditions that they were living in. You know, there was one of their clients was in there. He had no furniture. He'd torn his kitchen apart. There were no appliances. There was just a chair in the middle of an empty room. Like it was horrible. And they had never seen it, right? So we worked with them to say, like, okay, guys, come on, like he needs more supports. He needs wraparound supports. Like let's help him get somewhere else. So we worked with them to
go to a facility, right? That actually specializes in getting help. And like, I don't know what his challenge was, but I have heard of situations, so I can assume what it was. But you know, getting him the right help.
And that's hard, right? It's a lot of work. It's a lot of dealing.
It's a lot of conversations. It's a lot of taking time. It's being patient. It's understanding that you're going to hit some walls along the way, but it's keeping a mindset of, you know, we're working towards a better goal here. We're working towards, you know, a quality place that we can have people living in. And number one, they're safe, they're secure. It's not poisoning them. It's not killing them. It's not making them sick. You know, it's not endangering their health overall, and they don't feel scared at night, kind of thing. So that was always kind of, you know, the bigger goal, right? Keep in mind what we're trying to do here, and you know, continue to work with people, right? Have some heart, have some kindness, have a little bit of patience, and let's see. In a year's time, we were able to turn over all the tenants.
Oh, wow. So all 16 units were, after the year is done, was all brand new tenants up to market rent then?
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. So yeah, in I guess in about 14 months we completed the whole project, and now it's a cash flowing asset. We're holding it for you know, a long-term purpose kind of thing. So we'll just kind of let it do its thing. And most recently, very excited about this, which is we decided to bring on a property manager. So I've been doing so much of the property management myself. But I think a lot of people hit this as they progress, right? There's a point of like, okay, you know, it takes a lot of time and effort and work. And then, you know, are you managing a business? Are you growing your business? What is it? So we've made the decision of, you know, we're better at growing our business, and it's been great experience managing all these properties, but now we're bringing in some pros that really can do that job well for us.
And also, you being cash flow positive means that you can now, you know, the property itself is sustaining the property manager. And that is exactly. That is something that is always good to see, and it doesn't happen all the time. When you did have turnover in the units, and they obviously happen sporadically, so you had revenue coming in while you were doing renovations. What were, you know, some of the basic renovations or touch-ups that you did to these units?
Oh, for this one, it was back to the studs.
Gutted.
It was back to the studs, because there were so many issues, and I mean, what was great about this building is it was concrete block, cinder block, so it was solid as a rock.
As
the older homes usually are, honestly.
That's right. That's right. But yeah, we took it all the way back, you know, just even replaced some of the strapping for the drywall. We had some issues with some bed bugs and things that, you know, decided not to leave.
Mold and mildew, and
it was just, so there was, and everyone had smoked in the building for decades.
Smoke.
So
just
the
caked
smell
on
when
there.
you walked in was horrific. So there's no saving it. You just have to
got it. Clear, blow it out.
That's exactly.
And then so obviously the big ones cost wise are kitchens, bathrooms, flooring, I guess, which isn't the biggest of costs. How did you go around with finding new appliances? Did you always go to the same, appliance store? Did you go on Kijiji? Like, how did you, go about, working in your systems to do all of these renovations and repairs?
Yeah. So for this building, we did IKEA kitchens.
Okay.
And IKEA bathrooms.
They're probably beautiful now.
They're great.
Well, pros and cons. Like midway through the pandemic, IKEA had so many, like everyone else, right? Supply issues. So we get like 95% of the cabinetry, and there'd be the last cabinet that wasn't able to order,
So
and you'd be like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me here, right?" So that was problematic. I would.
We're
say.
still waiting for our light fixture from 2021. So
that's right.
I can understand that. IKEA kitchen and bathroom.
And then for appliances, we just did the brick with a discount code that we had, and we just, all the units were the exact same, so we just ordered like 16 fridges, 16 stoves.
And it's also good when you're talking about market value, right? You know what the units are renting out for.
Yeah,
exactly.
So which is great. So when you did purchase it originally, was it cash flow negative?
Yeah.
Well, maybe for the previous owner, I don't know what he's holding in terms of debt on the property. When we took it over, it was cash flow negative when we purchased the property, and we knew that this was going to be something where it would take at least a year to be able to turn it over and get it in a position where it'd be cash flow positive. So, it was a project where you're bleeding out for a year. You're dealing with a lot of costs, challenges along the way, that sort of thing. So, there's ups and downs as you go throughout it. You kind of make a couple wins, and then you hit you might have 4 to 6 weeks of roadblocks, and then you get a couple of wins, and then you had some roadblocks, and you just constantly kind of, I don't want to say battling or struggling, but you're pulling uphill is what you're doing. You're constantly pulling uphill for that first, year or so.
It should go up and down upwards, right? And I feel like anyways, based off of our conversations in the past and right now, this isn't something that you're trying to renovate and flip. This is something that you want to hold long-term and actually reap the benefits of the work that you put in last year.
Well, values always continue to go up. So, long-term buy and hold is our strategy most of the time. There's always situations where it may be in our best interest to liquidate a property and use that to move on to something else. But long-term buy and hold is usually our strategy. Yeah,
it's where I've personally seen, I've been working with REC now for 7 years, and the investors who, are in a position to buy and hold, and you're right, sometimes you do have to lose an asset for needing the capital for life or for moving into another investment, or, financing restrictions are the big two. Sometimes you just reach this wall, and I personally think that you can always scale the wall and try your hardest before losing the asset or selling the asset. But sometimes it's what investors decide. And that's great to hear. Do you have an idea of the growth based off the work that you put in on from when you purchased it last year, right? This home, or was it in 2020?
2020.
Yeah, we got the keys midsummer of 2020, and I'm happy to talk about what we're able to do in terms of value wise for the property. So when we purchased it, it was 1.9 was the purchase price on it. We were happy with that on a price per door. It was decent. It really is a market that is on the upward swing. At the time, it was reported, I think, one of the top 10 markets in Ontario to be able to invest in. There was other markers, good infrastructure going on, waterfront development going on, more transit going on. And we just knew that Aurelia is going to continue to grow. Population growth is strong. We're located right by the hospital. There was a number of factors that we liked about this. But so we purchased it for 1.9 million. And then after all the work was done, we had the building appraised. And this is what I was talking about when you look at the difference between residential and that multifamily space and kind of what you can do. So the appraisal came in at $3.7 million for the building once we were all done with the work. And we put probably close to, about $900,000 into the building in terms of work and time and effort, holding costs, all that sort of thing. So it wasn't a small project that we took on, but in terms of being able to see that value, it definitely worked out for us.
About $1 million, right? Based off of the purchase price and the capital you put in. Still about $1 million in growth in the last year and a half, which is incredible. And now you get cash flow as well. So you're hitting it on a few different fronts here, right? You get that active appreciation, you get the passive appreciation, as well as that principal payback and cash flow. So you get everything. That's great. That is the true 4 ways to win there.
That's right.
You got it.
We spoke about the duplex in Barrie as well as the 16-unit JV in Aurelia.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the opportunity in the Caribbean. This is one that backstage I was most interested in. Let's talk about this a little bit. What is going on there? What are you getting into in the Caribbean?
Go ahead, hon.
Okay, so we're thrilled about this. So we went down. Jamie and Leslie Collard. They've been working in Curacao for a number of years now. They've been spending a ton of time down there. They're doing some incredible work there, even with the government, and some really exciting stuff. They invited a bunch of people down in November, and they said, can you guys come down and help us out, help run this mastermind? So we did. And we didn't really we were open to potentially looking at property down there, but we thought maybe that's just not in the cards for us right now.
At least we get a trip out of it, right?
Hey,
So-
we just said, as long as we can
Brought our kids.
hang out with the best, right?
Yeah.
And be, involved in this and get a great time out of it. Yeah, we brought our kids. So we made
After
Yeah.
COVID, I hadn't been anywhere in forever. I was like, we are there.
I cannot wait till our next vacation. So I am a little bit jealous of that, but so what type of opportunity? What was the experience there?
So basically, Jamie and Leslie put on this incredible week with tons of investors, and they toured us around the island. They introduced us to mortgage brokers, real estate agents. They showed us the new builds that they're doing, how they're running their vacation rentals. So they've got a bunch down there. They introduced us to the property managers who they are partnered with, who are incredible people. And basically just open the playbook to everybody as to this is how it works down here. And these are all the people that you would need to know in order to, make an investment. And we have already partnered. We haven't talked about these properties yet, but we have another business partner, Roseanne Celsey of Celsey Properties. And she was down there with her husband. And we went and we looked at a new build opportunity with one of the builders that were recommended. And it was just it's just so beautiful. And so we talked to the mortgage brokers, we talked to everybody down there, and we decided to pull the trigger. So we're in the process of
amazing taking action.
We're in the process of sort of finalizing a lot of those steps. So obviously investing internationally requires, lots of different steps and corporations,
paperwork,
issues.
Tax implications, obviously. Are these short-term rentals then?
That's the idea. So this is a 4-bedroom luxury villa, 4-bedroom, nice. 4-bath luxury villa. It's got the
condo. Is it like a condo townhome?
No, it's
a home. Single family.
It's
amazing.
Yeah, it's a nice kind of setup, but it's got the edgeless water. Or the edgeless pool, and we made a couple of changes. We said, for the rooftop, we really wanted to be able to have that coastline view,
360 view of the ocean.
We wanted a 360 view of the ocean. So we said, let's take off the peak roof, let's flatten this out, let's put a little area up there. So we made a couple of little changes from the original design. The builders came back, going, great stuff, guys. We really like it. And so as Joe said, we're just finalizing all the paperwork. But the idea is that we will have Key Carib, who is Mitchell and Carmela, which is the property managers down there. They'll run this as a vacation rental property, and then with ourselves and Roseanne, we'll carve out a little bit of time annually to be able to go down there and enjoy.
Yeah.
But
you got to take a look at your asset. You got to make sure
we'll be working champagne. When the thing is ready, we're going down there for a celebrational, cut the ribbon kind of trip, right? But then afterwards, it's fill it up and get this thing.
Roseanne and I are going to go down and do a shopping trip somehow.
Oh, for sure.
We've got to furnish it, Tyler. Right?
I personally think that you need someone from REC, probably someone here.
I totally see that.
To have a set of eyes on it as well, I think so.
Nice. Well, we might need multiple shoppers, right? Maybe you get a shopper in Miami filling up a container and then sending it down. Right?
Sure. So. Yeah, we'll do it. That's great. And then in regards, do you have an idea of what typical expenses are going to be once you do close on it and it's fully constructed? And the expenses, I mean more the property management fee for the tenant placement.
Yeah, I don't have that like top, like really like on hand right here. It is a little bit higher. I know that, right? And it's everything they do. And I think it's closer to like a 15 to 20 points
Yeah.
for
But that includes cleaning as well then.
everything.
Like everything. Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Marketing, advertising, all of it.
Everything. We just get it built. We turn it over to them. There it is, guys. Put this into your portfolio. Fill it up with quality, vacationers, and we'll take a week here and there, kind of thing. And but that's it. Like we're not going to have to do anything. It's going to be them looking after all of it. So they did talk about one thing. They're like, if you guys find people that want to come down, then we drop our booking rate. So, that's cool. But otherwise, for the work that they're doing and the attention and the care, it's just like, yeah, you guys are worth I think it was about 20 points. It was worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And it's everything, right? Inspections before and after, I would assume, when the short-term tenants come in, cleaning, inspection, and tenant placement and advertisement itself. And as well, communicating with the short-term tenants who are booking, which is... It's a lot. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot. And they're total pros. They're in, I think, 17 islands in the Caribbean. They're Dutch. A lot of Curacao is mainly Dutch. And they have tons of properties across the island. Like they are total pros. So we're just thrilled that they even like are helping us with the purchase, right? Because they're just brilliant and they know everybody and they know what we need to be asking, and
they speak Dutch and so does the builder. So that helps us out too, right? We're like, okay, you know what, your English is good, but your Dutch is even better. So
that was funny. In the negotiating, we were all sitting around the table with Roseanne and Tom, and Ray was saying something and I could see kind of just, I mean, they speak English, the builders, but they were just sort of, they just weren't getting this one concept.
The click wasn't there.
And Mitchell said, can I just speak in Dutch for a minute? And he's like, blah, 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 blah. And they were like, oh, got it. Okay.
Like, yeah, sure. Yeah. That's always nice. Honestly, that is very nice. And short-term rentals is something that a lot of our EC insiders are looking into right now and taking action on. And just like yourselves, we did a Florida opportunity on our last REC marketplace. And, having cash flow, especially in Southern Ontario markets, as you both know, is very hard to come by. And not that it's not possible, but it is hard to come by. And short-term rentals, especially in these other markets, we did Orlando for the opportunity, but the Caribbean and I'm sure some markets in Europe as well are really good for it, is something at least to supplement. You get into good markets in Southern Ontario to work on that snowball effect with the passive appreciation, as well as that principal payback, so you can refinance. It's a lot easier to refinance opportunities that are domestic, but then you also can supplement some of that with cash flow. And in hope anyways, with some of the plans that I've drawn out, if you have, and a lot of our investors, invest in the duplexes, single family homes and condos, and they're traditionally, cash flow neutral most of the time, but having some cash flow there can help, if anything goes wrong on the condo front or the single family home front, at least you can take some of that nest there and make it, a self-sustained engine or a self-sustained, system, which is always ideal for sure.
100%, right? And we're finding this: the more properties that we acquire, the less risk you're actually having in terms of being able to establish that cash flow, because you've got multiple properties. And you might have one where maybe it's at a neutral point, but the other one is at a positive point. We try not to go for the negatives. I mean, we talked about the 16 unit, and there's other buildings too. When we're going in with the whole strategy of we need to be able to improve the quality of these, we know they're going to be a negative, but it's always the goal of once we're completed, it's going to be in a cash flow positive position.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. And that's, it's always good, especially with the duplexes, triplexes, and multifamily. I really do think that cash flow should be there, especially with those large multis. And we have some investors who invest, turnkey multifamily, cash flow neutral. And that's great if it's your strategy, but, especially because a lot of these multifamily are older buildings, things come up structurally. And if you don't have the capital that's generated from your cash flow, then you're going to have to always keep putting things out of pocket. And not that it's bad, because you're also, getting that active appreciation to it. But, if you don't have the capital there, or you weren't thinking of allocating it, that's how investors are potentially at risk there, right? So in those larger multis. So you do, in regards to your portfolio, we spoke about the Barrie duplex, and in regards to value there, I know you bought in 2018, so I know personally how much Barry's grown since 2018. How did that one grow in regards to value?
That one did really well, but we did liquidate it. It was something where Joe said
Last summer, right?
Yeah, I think it was last May was the time
May.
on it. Barry market was going crazy, and
yeah.
We just took a look at the overall property. It was doing fine, but it was the smallest one of our particular portfolio. We'd grown quite a bit since that particular acquisition, and we took a look at it and saying, okay, we could hold this, a few more years, we could refinance it, or if we wanted to right now, you can liquidate the property, take this and roll it into the next, and that's really what we did. So we are long-term buy and hold, but it's not to say that we're not flexible. It is a market for a reason, right? So you have to kind of pay attention. If the market is giving you certain indicators, I think that it's wise to be able to pause and look at those. Doesn't mean you have to sell, but it was,
But it was also the timing for us.
Timing was good.
I left the day job last summer, dealing with a lot of personal stuff, my parents' health and that kind of thing. So I left the day job to join the business full time finally, which was really exciting. Yep. But liquidating that gave us just that little bit of buffer to be able to do that confidently and without, a ton of worry and no stress, right? Which is
no
not
friction,
what we needed.
as Jazz says, right? Remove the friction.
Exactly, and you now have a little bit of a cushion with the salary there, Joe. So you know that you probably have calculated what your expenses are for your life and with the kids, and look, we need this amount of money this year for us. And
you got it.
And also I would assume that $900,000 of renovation costs for the opportunity really are probably also added into the the consideration of liquidating that.
Yeah,
just a little bit,
just a little bit. So, which is great. And did you want to touch point on any of your other opportunities in your portfolio before we go into, the challenges and what's next?
So, I mean, we've got two great opportunities going on right now. And you talked about finding cash flowing assets in Ontario in the multifamily space. And this is one that this is our latest acquisition. It's our biggest acquisition. It's 36 units in Belleville, Ontario. And we found this, and we run numbers on a lot of buildings because we're always looking, right? We're always hunting. It's just part of our cycle. And you start to see the earmarkers on what will and what won't cash flow. This one actually came back as cash flowing, and it was
currently.
We have to go back and recheck all the numbers right away. We're like, hold on, something's not adding up here because, nothing cash flows in Ontario kind of thing. But we went back, we checked all of our numbers, and sure enough, it was. So we've got that property. We're closing March the 10th on it. And with that, we've also kind of gone a little more advanced structure. So it's the first time we're doing this particular structure, but we went to our legal counsel and we said, how do we do this so that people that want to work with us can be involved in the project? And they came back with a shareholder style agreement. So we've done a few weeks of calls around it, and we've had now a pool of interested shareholders. So we're kind of getting towards the end of that particular kind of journey and that opportunity. If anyone is curious about where we're at, you can always reach out. Do we get to drop our information at the end, or when do we do that?
You could do it now if you like, and we'll do it at the end as well. So
cool.
Where can our REC insiders reach you, Ray and Joe?
So simply just drop us an email, info@bvco.ca. That's us. Drop us an info. And if you want to say, the Belleville property and you're curious about how we kind of put that together, we'd love to share. So that's our current one.
And we have it down there for everyone. Just
you guys are fancy.
Just make sure to send an email to Ray and Joe. And in regards to minimum investments, because we structured a few, potential joint ventures like this in the past. Is there a minimum investment?
So for this one's a 3-year term, and this would be better suited towards accredited investors. And there is a minimum investment. There's a per share cost on it, and it is a little bit of a larger ticket. It's $227,000 a share is what you're coming in for. But we can go through details and all that sort of stuff. And it is a 3-year commitment with some really great upside returns.
Really great upside.
Even our accountant thinks we're being a little too generous. He's like, you guys might want to dial this back. You're being really generous.
No, we're good.
We have our reasons as to why. We said it's important, right? Like our tenants, right? Our investors, people that want to work with us on our projects, they are the lifeblood of what we do. So we want to put them first and foremost. And we want to be able to say, you guys are, extremely important to our projects, to our business. And we put you first, right? So yes, we make money. We'll make money after 3 years. The first 3 years is going to be work. That's fine. That's okay. It's what we do, right? So yeah,
and it gives you an opportunity to, to scale. And I know, especially at REC, we actually don't really like to use the word scale because it's thrown around everywhere. But truly though, with raising capital, it gives you an ability now to keep looking and keep those gears turning to find other opportunities. And also the $227,000 per share. To me anyways, it means that you're actually partnering with less investors. It's not just, put in $50,000.
That's right.
And there's 40, 50 investors. There's probably a small amount of investors who are there. And you get the benefit of growing with it.
Exactly, right. We wanted to be able to do a smaller pool for a number of reasons. It's working out well. The response has been great. So we're excited about that. I mean, that's going to be closing March the 10th is our date on that one. So we're looking forward to be able to get into that property. We've got some great ways to optimize it. And, there's simple stuff that low hanging fruit, like for example, just the meters. When we went through the walkthrough, there's one, meter for each particular building. So it's 12-plex, 12-plex, 12-plex for a total of 36. And right away for us, when we look at that, we're like, well, if you can separate the meters and then, the utilities become part of the tenant's responsibilities, that's a win on all aspects. So there's low-hanging fruit. There's kind of 3-year plans that we've been going through, but we're excited about that. And then, we continue to grow. In the Kingston area, we have our first or our second development project, but this will be our first multi-unit. We're working with Roseanne Celsi, and we're doing a 6-story, 25 units right in the heart of Kingston on Princess Street. So we're currently in the hole pushing paper, and
so much paper.
We'll be building come 2023.
It's there's a lot of red tape, that's for sure, when it comes to development. And is this something that is it a plot of land, a vacant land that you bought, or was it a pre-existing home that you're gonna demo and build up?
Yeah, so right now it's a parking lot. And it's been a parking lot for decades. And there's like a little shack on it, and a guy that rents the shack and runs the little lot. And he's lovely, and we're going to keep him as long as we can. And, it's great. We're right now, we've got our architect, we've got our planner. We're going through all sort of the site plan approval process. We're working on easements. We're working, all of that fun stuff.
It's interesting though, right? Because you're having conversations now with different service providers and experts that in 2018 you wouldn't have had, right? And it's really great and also infectious. Like I want to go out there and find something in Kingston right now as well to do that and to do some development. But to see your growth from 2018 to now is just incredible, guys. And you should. And I'm sure you are, but you should pat yourselves on the back there. And it's really nice to see the growth and really starting from the ground and just, walk before you run. But I feel like at one point, I don't know where we got to here, but we're starting to really now sprint, and it's really good to see.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tyler.
It's been a lot of, 2018 was our first one. And then we paused and we didn't really do anything until that 2020 purchase. So really in the last 2 years, we've just had our heads down, and it hasn't, I think sometimes these sort of success journeys are sort of held up as like, oh, look at that, isn't that so amazing? But it has been hard. Been really, especially with 2 kids, we work all the time, and we're getting our way out of that now in terms of building the systems for our business so that we can get a bit of our time back. But it has been a ton of work, but we love it, and we're excited, and we just want to keep going, because that's our why, is to have time with our kids and have time with our family. And that has been a bit of a sacrifice the last couple of years as we've built this, but hopefully that will turn.
I'd like to just say to the community that's listening here, right? We really, yes, we did hit the gas. There's no doubt about that. 2019, we really took the time to be able to kind of educate ourselves, network, and get ourselves in a position. 2020, we took action in a big, big way, and we kept taking action. We added, the 16 unit, and then we did duplexes in Barrie. Then we went out and we started to work with Roseanne, and we started to get a 6-plex in Kingston, 2 12-plexes in Gananoque. The Belleville property. We've added a conversion project in Barrie where we're taking a single family, we're doing a new triplex. So we've kept taking action all the time. And part of it is, as you're getting started, it's frustrating. You're learning, you're figuring things out. And I think having assets like yourself, Tyler, where you can sit down and have a conversation and map out success is such a way to be able to get there. And we really looked at a lot of that, which is how do we kind of not hack, but how do we take some of that challenges out? We had a lot of swings and misses. We thought we were going to get a deal. It didn't happen. There was disappointing nights. There was frustrating days. There was, finding the right people to work within the team. But if you keep on pushing, if you keep on working hard and you keep focused and you surround yourself with great people, rec team, use these resources, you can start to find the ways to move yourself forward. And as you start to figure one way to unlock it, you're going to figure out the next one and the next one and the next one. And I think that's really what's happened with us. We've just gotten a little bit better at overcoming the obstacles and being able to move forward.
And taking action when you see it. And I think that, when you're in a position to purchase something, a lot of investors, they want to analyze. And I think analyzing is the first start of an investment. But when you see something that works, take a shot at it. And if it works, that's great. And if not, you just take a step back and reevaluate your plan. And our real estate action plans, and last week was actually pretty busy. I think I spoke to 10 to 12 REC insiders last week. And the first part is just like how we did at the beginning, which is just have a brain dump, spew out everything. What are you thinking? What have you done? What's your current situation when it comes to mortgaging and financing? And where do you want to get to? And Joe, I think you should tell a lot of the REC insiders, because the main objective that a lot of our insiders have when I'm talking about what's their 5-year plan, it's to transition from that 9-to-5 life and to go work full time in your real estate portfolio. I always have a little asterisk beside it when people want that, and I let them know that working for yourself and building real estate wealth is the end goal. But you have to also know that it doesn't mean that you're working less. In fact, you're working more. So do you agree with that statement there?
100%, like 100%. I would say, I think that's a really good point, Tyler, because yes, I think that's the vision that so many people have is I get to leave the 9-to-5. I have control of my own schedule. I can, go do yoga all day and I just make money, and it's no, that's not how it works. And we work more now than we ever did at the 9-to-5. We put our kids down and we come right back down at 8:00 at night. We usually pump out another hour or two of work, and it's constant.
Or a call.
Or so many calls.
Or
lots of calls.
Right.
And
sometimes it's conversations you've had 10 times already, but you got to have it the 11th time.
Yep. And it's, that's fine. The 9-to-5 has its benefits because you can leave it at the job normally, depending on your job. You can leave it there and then come back and have a life. Here, it's like your life and your job, it's all blended together.
Yeah, it's you're working on your real estate portfolio and owning a business, which working on your real estate portfolio is a business. Are ways that it's a lot of work and it's a lot of thankless work, because people everyone doesn't get to see all of the behind the scenes things that you both have had to do to get to where you are and to keep moving and to keep growing. So it is thankless, but and it's hard also to celebrate wins because you're now thinking about, okay, how do we keep going? But I see it with REC, with Jazz and Simeon, and it's truly like you don't when you're doing it and when you're working in it, you don't understand where it's going to go or have an idea of where it's going to go, but you take a step back 5 years, 6 years after with all the work that you put in, and you'll see a really nice finished product, or at least to that point finished product. And it's great to hear your story there.
Well, I totally agree. I think when you're in it, it's really hard to see. And your point is so true in terms of it's hard to celebrate the wins, right? Because you're like, okay, you know, if you make a little bit of money, you're just like, okay, that money's already allocated out the door. So what's the next pot of money? Like, how are we going to make more? Because we need to pay our bills. We've got, you know, responsibilities and, you know, to
And
our
plans.
neighbors, to our family,
Yep.
and to our
Yep.
plan, everything.
Yep.
But yeah, I think shortly we'll be able to look back. We never thought we'd get this far. I mean, I didn't.
No, right?
I
Like
never
at
thought we'd have a
2018,
portfolio
if
like
you'd
this.
said like, here's what you guys can be doing in the next few years, I would
No
have
way.
said, no, that's not us. Like, there's no way we can achieve what you're talking about. I would have told you, like, you know, you're smoking crazy, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, go talk to someone else kind of thing. But it really is that ability to be able to, you know, believe in yourself and have that confidence, but surrounding yourself with the right people. You've got to get the people around you that can help you out.
It's so important.
And I think you made a really good point earlier about, and I know I've listened to Jazz talk about this, right? This is the ready, fire, aim, right?
Yeah.
Which is take action. And then once you're into that project, you have to have some plans and you have to have a few different ideas where you're going to go with this particular property or project. But things can kind of, you know, move and shift a little bit. There might be different factors in the market. There might be different factors with your circumstances. So it's fine that a project may change course throughout the course of it. As long as you've thought about that in advance, right? You got it. You've got
Yes, exactly.
now. And that's what investors want, right? This is about having assets. So you've got the asset, you're on the winning side now. It's what do you do with that asset is the question.
Exactly. And also leveraging what, you know, the people around you have done wrong and learning from their mistakes. So just so, you know, the hope that one, you either don't run into the mistake, but the reality is, you know, you can't control everything and mistakes happen and, you know, external factors happen, but it's how do you deal with it? And I think having a community, and this is what, you know, the REC Insider Group, as well as the others that we work with, like the Keyspire Group, for example, what they've created and what we've created at REC and what you've created as well with your inner circle is a community to leverage on and to grow with, not to grow because of, but to grow with. And there's enough pieces of the pie to go around. So I've had a great conversation here. I've gotten so much value from this, and REC insiders who are tuning in, or REC Nation, I hope you've also gotten some value from this discussion from Joe and Ray. It's just such a great story, and you know, 2018 doesn't seem like it's that long ago. And from what you've done, my page is full right now, and I've taken notes the whole time because I'm learning from this as well in regards to, you know, different ways that, you know, I can you know, scale my portfolio or speak to investors to try to bring value there. What is next for BV and Co?
What's next, babe?
Oh my gosh. I think I honestly, this is where we balance each other. He's more the vision guy. I'm more the like, okay, how are we actually going to make it happen? The like implementation thing. You know, I think our the Curacao project is really exciting. We've got the development in Kingston. Those are and North Park. Those ones are going to be sort of our longer term projects we're going to be working on, but we definitely.
Yeah, like, what's next for BV and
what's
Co?
Next?
We're building a team.
Yeah,
we're
building a team.
Taking some action. We need to be able to bring some people on to be able to support the amount of growth that we're doing and the needs of that growth. So we're bringing some key people on, and we're hoping to be able to do that, you know, within this particular first quarter to be able to set ourselves up. There's going to be more projects that will be coming. We're going to continue to be in larger scale multi-units. We'll look at development projects as well, and we want to continue to add into our destination vacation. So maybe a cottage here in Ontario, you know, maybe we look at a chalet in Quebec City, you know, maybe we, you know, look at something in the Caribbean. Maybe you know, we go on a trip with you back to Italy and we find something there. But
let's go to North Italy. That's where I follow this Instagram account, which is Cheap Old Houses, and they've now branched out to Cheap Old Houses Italy, and it's my favorite Instagram channel. I look at it all the time, and so some of the prices are really good to see.
So we'll continue to add our destination properties because ultimately we'd like a portfolio where, you know, everyone is enjoying them, but we can go from time to time. And this year we'll continue to work on our joint ventures. People are interested in working with us in terms of a JV, and we're really excited about that. So that's kind of what's next for us this particular year.
I ask every single REC insider on this brunch with REC to reach out to Joe and Ray, info@bvco.ca. Get the reps in with the conversation. Even if you're not in a position right now to commit to one of these opportunities, stay connected with Joe and Ray, and everyone listening will definitely get value from that private, 2-on-1 conversation.
Oh, thanks, Tyler. We love talking to people, and so much of what we love doing is talking to people who are, just getting started in real estate and kind of looking to get their first property. And we love having these conversations. So yeah, please reach out. We'd love to chat.
And we love the REC team too. We're big fans of the REC team. You guys have been awesome to us. We've worked with you guys. We continue to refer people your way, and you guys are huge supporters. So we can't say thanks enough for the opportunity.
We really do appreciate your support that you've shown us in the last few years. And Ray, I spoke to your niece
awesome.
A few weeks ago, and she has a good head on her shoulders, that's for sure. Like, she's thinking about what she wants to do in the future. And those are the conversations personally that I like the most, which is, I'm a young Canadian myself, and speaking with young Canadians and trying to build their long-term plan in real estate, or at least, part of their business plan to accompany real estate is where I think that, if we look back at all my conversations in the last 10 years, those are the ones that, I think that I hope anyways I've contributed mostly to, which is getting people started.
Exactly.
I know it was a great call because she texted me telling me how excited she was. So home run on that call, man.
Yeah, she showed me her Etsy business, her Etsy account. Is it keychains, right?
Yeah. I can't believe she's like blown that thing up, and
they look good. They do look really good.
It's all good.
I think that specifically in the last 4 or 5 years with the ability to create your small business or a single business, and having the platforms like Etsy, like Facebook Marketplace, and all these other ones that are there, it's giving people an opportunity to work on the side and just to start making a little bit more money, and also work with their passion or with their hobby, and try to see what comes from it. And I love that conversation. For all REC insiders who would like to sit down with REC and to do what exactly Joe and Ray just did with myself or any of our other real estate coaches, visit coffeewithrec.com. It's a 50-minute conversation. And we do essentially this, just have a brain dump, and let's go into the current portfolio, what you're trying to accomplish as well. How can REC help? And Joe and Ray, I had a great time speaking with you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Loved it, Trent. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this was fantastic. Thanks so much for having us on, and it's been a great way to start the day and the weekend.
Yeah, this is great. Everyone who is listening, let us know how we did. This is, again, my first Brunch with REC that I actually got to host myself, and
did great.
Thank you. These are the conversations I'm having, and I wasn't sure how I was going to do, honestly. This morning I was a little nervous. I had my wife and daughter Nora join me in the office, and I hear Nora running around while we were doing this, and it's good to grow just like yourself. You're growing with your portfolio, and I really want to take this year as the year where I look back and say, this is the year that I made a difference with my life. And thank you for being part of that.
For you. That's awesome.
Awesome, man.
Way to go, Tyler.
Okay, everyone, enjoy the rest of your snowy Saturday here and your long weekend. And Ray and Joe, again, thank you for joining us. Everyone, please send an email to info@bvco.com, info@bvco.ca. And for everyone else who is joining us, thank you again so much for attending the Brunch with REC. Jazz and Simeon will be back in 2 weeks, and I'll be back in a month's time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everyone.